Hey y'all, I think this is going to be a fun lesson and I'm excited about it. I had to play a while to figure this out. So it's a little bit more complicated, but not real complicated. I want to show you the layout I made and what the technique is, and then we're going to go to another file to play. So I'm going to zoom in, and here's my photo, and you're going to see I have this fun mask on my photo, and it has little dots going out, and if you go up here and look, this is also some dots. It was in the shape of a heart, and I kind of blended it into the background photo. This is actually a photo in the background that I took. It turned out to be a really cool for a background, and so that is just blended in as a layer rather than using it like a mask, and I added a gradient to it. And so that is the technique that we're going to be playing with. You can see it here on the photo. And so let's go to this file that I have here just for us to play with so that I can teach you how to do this. I'm going to go ahead and there's so many ways to do this. So many ways, but so many little variations. I have to think where I want to teach you from first. I'm going to get the rounded rectangle tool. Now you're going to see later that this doesn't really matter. It can be any shape. It can be just using these tools up here, but I'm going to get you started with just a basics. I'm going to press a D on my keyboard to make this a black and white because I want this to be black. And I'm going to draw a rounded selection, or a custom shape I must say, around my photo, and then I'm going to click simplify. Now the next step in this is to get a white area around the black area, and this is important. You do need to start with black in the middle and have white around it, and the more I get into showing you the examples of this, you'll see why and how that works. And so there are many ways that you can do this. Of course, you can go if you're in the newer versions of Photoshop Elements, the strokes are right here, and you can add a stroke to it and go in here and change that stroke color to white. I tend to, I'm going to clear layer style, not use that because I've started in Photoshop Elements 3 and I forget that that's even there. I don't even think that was in there in 7. In version 7, and this is what I tend to do just because it's easier, I'll hit the soft edge drop shadow because I keep my styles on drop shadows most often, and then I will go in here and just take off the drop shadow and add a stroke. To me that's much faster, and I'm going to go in here and change it to white. Click OK, and now this is where it varies. You know, you're going to have to play with it. You can do any number of things for this to get any wide variety, but hopefully going to teach you how it works sort of so that you can purposefully create what you're wanting to create. So I can make this larger, which I think I am. I'm going to make it a little bit larger, and I'm going to click OK. Now if I wanted to add a stroke to this using the edit drop down menu, I could have done that too. However you want to get it on there, that is fine. Now because this stroke is a layer style, we need to actually commit it into this shape, so I'm going to right click and choose Simplify. Okay, so now we have our basic shape and some white around the edge. That's going to be a principle you're going to use every time you do this, no matter what shape you use. The next step, which is important, is to blur it. So we're going to go down to Blur, Gaussian Blur, and now this will also affect the changes. You could do this without blurring at all, but I found it just doesn't work very well. If you blur it up really high, I kind of like that much better, but you can play with it and see what it looks like, maybe blurred about this much. That may be the effect that you are going for a little bit more. I'm going to go right in here this time. A lot of the other times I had it up higher. You're going to have to play with this to kind of learn so that you can purposefully do what you want to do. So there's my Gaussian blur, and now the next step, which is what's going to actually give it those little circles, is to go to the filter drop down menu, pixelate, and choose color halftone. Now you could try using the default, which is like this, and see what you get, but I recommend, if you want just clean straight circles, go through here and put each of them at 45. And now the maximum radius, this is something that you will play with from, there's a bird outside my window chirping. He wants to learn too, I guess. Back to the maximum radius. This is something you will want to think about, as I'll do a couple samples here for you that does make a difference and is really pretty easy to purposefully get a setting that you're going for. I can't remember, let's just put 1 in here. I can't remember what it is. There we go. Has to be between 4 and 127. That's the only range that you can use for this. And so I'm going to go ahead and do 20, which is what I had in there before. Anywhere between 10 and 20 is usually good for this kind of purpose. And click OK, and you're going to see now that it has those little dots coming out. It was just that easy. Something with black in it, white around it, blur it, do the color halftone. It's really not as complicated as it seems. But there's a few more steps now in order for us to actually utilize this. Now we have to get rid of the white, and so I'm going to go to the Magic Eraser tool, and I'm going to make sure Contiguous is unchecked, because if you zoom in here, if Contiguous is checked, it's only going to delete the white parts that are touching each other. So it's going, if you click out here, it's going to get all these whites in here, but when you get here, it's not going to delete this white, because this white isn't touching any of that out there. So you want to make sure you uncheck Contiguous and click on the white, and make sure you're on the right layer, of course. And now you can see the white is all gone in all of those places. Now you can see there's a little bit of gray in here. To fix that, I press Control U, or just bring up your hue saturation. Hopefully everybody's been through the majority of these tutorials and knows some of these things. And then I'm just going to move the lightness slider down, and you can see the gray areas turn to black. So that's a little trick that I've done constantly as I'm playing to get rid of those little gray areas. Okay, so now we have a layer mask. It's as easy as that. I'm going to bring my layer mask below my photo, press Control G, And my layer mask is a little too big, so I'm going to make it a little smaller so it fits right on my layout, or not my layout, my photo just right. Let's bring it in here. There we go. Now you can see we have a fancy layer mask with the little dots going out. Now, the color halftone, I should maybe explain to you, is in Photoshop Elements, because what it does is it will emulate the old newspaper print. If you would take a newspaper and try scanning it in and bringing it into Photoshop Elements, you'll see it has a bunch of little dots in it, which can be frustrating when you're actually wanting to scan something in for a layout. But some people want to purposefully use that, and so I'm going to press Control G though to deselect, and we'll save our little frame there. Not to deselect, to ungroup. I got to ungroup. I was on the wrong layer, and we're going to play some more. So this time I'm going to go get that heart shape that I utilized before and make a heart, and then just follow the same steps that we did before. Add some white stroke to it. Now, what I could have done was just copy. Well, I don't have a layer style on that anymore. If you've been playing enough, you might have a layer style. This time, I'm going to go ahead and make that really big, just so that you can kind of see the difference. So I've made it really big. I'm going to simplify it. Go to the Filter drop-down menu, and let's get that Gaussian Blur. This time I'm going to knock it way up so you can see how it works, what your differences are. And this time I'm going to go to the Filter menu, to the Color Halftone, and let's go ahead and try the 127 just so you can see what it does. Now you can see how it made really big circles this time. So this may be the effect that you are going for. Let's hit the undo button and go back out there and do something much smaller. Let's say that 4 pixel, and do it again. And now you can hardly even see the dots. You have to go in so far, zoom in so far, and it almost creates this psychedelic effect. So that's almost too small. Let's try this again. Let's put it on about 12. And that turns out very nice. So what you would learn from this regarding the Gaussian blur, and in fact we can back it out and I'll show you the difference, is that the more this has a Gaussian blur going out, the more it will gradually decrease in size. Let's just observe this here. And then we're going to hit the undo button and go all the way back to where we're not blurred at all, and go back to the blur. Whoops, wrong one. Ha. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and let's just put a very small amount on it, so it's hardly blurred at all. And then go back into this filter, and it's on 12, same as before, and you can see because it didn't have a Gaussian blur going out too far, these little lines, little circles didn't graduate out very far either. And so it has to do with the mono grayscale, because the circles are going to be created in any of the black or grayscale areas, but once it reaches out into the white area, it's going to dissipate. So if you go back, let's see, filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and take it back up, you're going to see there is more of a grayscale area in here. And so when we go back in and do this, as we had before, oh, well, you got to undo. I undid too many steps, and so I undid my simplify. So let's go back in and do that. Oh, sometimes the undo button is good, sometimes not. Blur, Gaussian blur, way up there. Filter, pixelate, halftone. There we go. And so you can see where the grayscale was, that it reaches out further. Now, here's another trick that I'm going to show you that you can do. Of course, we want to go back in here and get rid of the white. And if you wanted, you could come back in here and knock out the center. I put on contiguous, so there's a whole nother look there. But or you can get your heart tool out and make that line a little bit smoother. But here's the little trick I want to show you. And this is actually what I did on my frame, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Hold down your control key and click on the thumbnail in the layers palette to get the marching ants around all of this, and then zoom in really far. Now, it's important for this step that you have one of the selection tools activated as opposed to the move tool. Otherwise, you're going to be cutting and moving the selection, what's within the selection, rather than moving just the selection. So I'm going to activate this one right here, and I'm going to go out here, zoom in a little bit more because that's where I like to work, and I'm just going to move this just a little bit. Now you can move it in any direction, anywhere you want. And I'm just going to do that right there so that it's partially on one of the circles and off one of the circles. And what I'm going to be doing is deleting. And so I'm kind of observing what I'm going to be keeping. And so now that I've got that done, I'm going to hit the delete key on my keyboard and Control D to deselect, and you're going to see I have a whole new type of selection, and it actually has these like little half circles. I can hit undo and maybe move them a little bit more for a different effect. Maybe I'll move them out this way and hit delete. And I actually like that a little bit better. And you can see when I did that, it also got rid of the entire middle of the layout. And this is actually what is on my layout here, I believe. And so that is another really good little trick. But if you're going to be doing this with your photo, now you see you have a problem, because unless that center area is black like this one, you cannot use this as a clipping mask. You could, I mean, we can do get the photo, and let's make it a little larger so you can kind of learn as we're going along, and clip it. But you see what you get. You can't hardly see that it's even the photo. So what we need to do is make that center area black, and there are several ways, of course, that you can do that. You could preserve that original heart that you made before you even get started on this, and then merge that layer with this layer. You could get your paint bucket and just tap out here. Let's see what happens. I'm afraid it's going to make the whole layer black. It did. So probably the best way is to preserve that original heart that you made. Let's Control Z. Let me zoom out. Just preserve that original heart that you made, and I can't make it the exact same size because I don't remember what I was doing at the time, but this is probably about what I had. And then over here, right click in your layers palette and merge down, and now it is one with this. And then if you wanted to clip them, you could have it looking like this. So you see there are a lot of ways to do things. Let me show you some more ways. Another thing that you can do is to utilize brushes. Now, if you go back to the brush tutorial, I'm going to make a new layer to work on. You'll remember about softness and hardness. These are the soft brushes and these are the hard brushes. Now, you'll recall with this tutorial that if this soft brush is kind of like the circle with the Gaussian blur applied outwards, and so it's very similar to applying the Gaussian blur. So I'm just going to get one of these brushes and make it a lot bigger and just show you. Let's just put one down and go to the halftone. And you can see because it didn't have any white around it, it really didn't do much to it at all. What I'm going to do is do a variety of brushwork. Now remember, we can make this it has absolutely no hardness to it at all. We can adjust the hardness here, so you can get any brush and adjust it so it's harder or softer. And I'm just going to make a line like this, and I might, let's undo one of those. I might just kind of make it, maybe I want my halftone kind of spraying out. I'm just kind of using my imagination here. And so then what I'm going to do is go back and apply my stroke as I have been doing before, the white stroke, same way as before. Make it a little bit smaller. You can see this already has the grayscale in it from the brush. I'm going to simplify it, and let's see what happens without using the Gaussian blur. Let's apply the color halftone, and there you see we got an interesting effect out of that. Let's go ahead and try doing a Gaussian blur on top of that. And maybe I'm going to do a little bit higher. Let's just try 25 so you can see what that looks like. And there we go. That is pretty cool. Only it's way too big. It's kind of gone outside of my thing. Let's get rid of the white. And there we go. We have a cool shape. Now, if I wanted to come back in here with my eraser tool maybe and lower the opacity, I might be able to, whoops. Well, I obviously didn't lower that opacity enough. Kind of change it even more. Actually, a layer mask might be better than a brush. But you can try all sorts of things to change this up. So then let's just take this paper I got, make a duplicate of it. Let's just play a little bit. Group that together. Now you can't see any changes because it's the same as this one back here. So I'm going to go in here and change it to something like a hard light. See, and that gives you a whole new look. I'm just making this stuff up as I'm playing, as we go along, and I just dropped a bunch of stuff on the floor. And so there are just a bunch of things that you can do. We can lower the opacity of this paper. Nope. That you can go in here and do to make fun different things for your layout and get all sorts of shapes. You can use any shape you want. You can use any size circles you want, and you can use it as an overlay, or you can use it as a clipping mask. And so you can just get out there and be creative. That doesn't do anything, does it? Let's see, screen doesn't do anything. I just can't stop playing. I can actually go in here and try these. I use the blending mode on this layer, the halftone layer, as opposed to the actual paper layer, and that made yet a different effect. Ooh, okay, that one there is kind of cool. And so we just play until we find something really cool. And see, then we can add our photo. I can't stop playing, can you tell? Watch, I'm gonna turn this on, and I'm gonna Control J. I'm gonna select these, make sure I'm on my selection tool, get in here, move this just a little bit, hit delete. Then I'm going to get this original one. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the selection tool and select. Well, that didn't work either. Well, saving my original one didn't help. Let's see. I'm going to. Isn't it fun to watch me think? Watch how me think. Merge down, Control G, there. So now I have a double effect where I have these little lines on the photo as well as on the background paper. That is actually kind of too cool, is it not? Let's make sure I get all of my photo in there. Ha! I like it. I like it. Is that not too cool? Wait a minute. I'm still playing. Alright. One more thing. This has nothing to do with the tutorial, really. Nothing. I just like to play. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Hold on. I want to do it down here. Lens flare? Yeah, that'll work. Did it work? Oh, I applied it to the wrong paper. I tell you what. Filter lens flare. Aha! There. Yeah, I don't like that one. Undo. Filter. Render. Lighting effects. This is really what I want to do. Let's do something else, not that one. Flashlight. No. Soft Omni. That'll work. And I want it to be over here. Ah! Wrong layer. There we go. Whoop. Ooh. Yeah, I'm gonna stop playing. Alright. You get out there. Have fun. And let me see what creativity you can make out of this lesson. Bye all.